what is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Mid-Level Media, and today we are here to review and talk about one of the latest big box set Arrow Video 4K releases of Carlito's Way, and I am super excited to get into this one. This is a Brian De Palma directed film. I am becoming a massive fan of Brian De Palma. Everything I've been seeing from him, I just love. Body Double, you got Dressed to Kill, Scarface, of course. I just love everything. I eat it all up. I love exploring more of Brian De Palma's filmography. He's just turning into one of my favorite filmmakers. So I'm excited to talk about this one. And Al Pacino, I've said this numerous times, he's my favorite actor. And again, I'm discovering a lot of his films for the first time within like the past 3 or 4 years. And I'm loving every minute of it, guys. So we're going to talk about Carlito's Way on 4K. Did I love this movie? We're going to get into it. I do think it's important to talk about the actual film itself. Then we're going to talk about the transfer. We're going to talk about the special features, the audio. I'm going to do a little unboxing of this limited edition Arrow video set. Now, this does come out on September the 26th. I do have an early review copy in that MVD sent me, an Arrow Video. So I want to thank them for sending this to me so I can get my thoughts out on it and let you guys know if it's worth a pickup on September the 26th. So before we get into the actual review though, like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We talk about physical media here on this channel, 4Ks, Blu-rays, owning the movies that you love, all that stuff there behind me. So I just said I am a huge fan of Brian De Palma. Now, I haven't seen everything that he's done, but I had actually never seen Carlito's Way. And this was a big movie. This was a big movie. I wouldn't say it's as big as Scarface, but it's definitely the counterpart to Scarface. I feel like when people bring up Scarface, they bring up Carlito's Way right after it because it's, you know, the obvious connection of Al Pacino and Brian De Palma, gangster film. And I love Scarface. I watched that for the first time like 3 or 4 years ago. I'm sure you guys are just clicking off the video. Ken hasn't seen Carlito's Way, just watched Scarface. What is this channel? What is this guy? He hasn't seen all these movies. To be honest, I'm glad that I'm discovering these movies now in my 30s because if I would have watched them back in my 20s, I don't think I would have appreciated them like I do now. But yeah, Carlito's Way was like all of the best elements of every Brian De Palma movie that I love. I feel like there was elements of Body Double in here. I feel like there was elements from Dressed to Kill. I felt like there was elements from Scarface. I felt like this was like the culmination of just all things that's great about Brian De Palma. And yeah, not to delay on my thoughts on the actual movie, but I absolutely loved this movie. I fell in love with it pretty much within like the first 5 minutes, and just the shots in that subway, the rotating camera work, the black and white. And then when you're just introduced to Al Pacino as you know, Carlito in the courtroom scene, and just how big and loud and bombastic he is, and just so grandiose in his performance. And I just love Al Pacino. He is my favorite actor, no doubt. No question in my mind is Al Pacino my favorite actor, because every single movie that I've seen, I just watched Cruisin', the Arrow Video version of that. He's fantastic in that. Godfather, of course, Scarface. He's iconic. Like every performance that guy touches is gold, and this might be one of his best. This might be like a top 5 Al Pacino performance. And like I said, I don't feel like this movie is as iconic. I don't feel like it's as revered as Scarface, but I do think it's just as good as Scarface. I feel like this one's a little bit more under the radar. Now, of course, when people say Scarface, they bring up Carlito's Way. I remember people bringing this movie up back in the day, you know, but I just don't feel like this is one that gets the respect that Scarface does. Scarface is like up here, and then Carlito's Way is just a little bit down. I would compare it to this. Martin Scorsese's Casino versus Goodfellas. That argument always seems to take place, and it feels like Casino's a little bit more under the radar, and Goodfellas is Goodfellas. Everybody knows what Goodfellas is. Everybody loves Goodfellas. I feel like the same comparison can be drawn with you know, Carlito's Way and Scarface. Al Pacino is fantastic, but you have such a great supporting cast in this movie. I think that Sean Penn is perfect for the role that he's playing. He's such a slime ball in the movie, but he just plays it so incredibly well, and it's a different kind of look for him too. I'm not used to him looking the way that he does in this movie, and he was still pretty young when he did this. This was like 11 years after he did Spicoli in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but yeah, he was fantastic in this movie. You got Luis Guzman is in this film. And I think he's actually in the prequel, Carlito's Way, Rise to Power, which I think came out in 2005. I remember when that came out. You got Penelope Ann Miller, who I just think has great chemistry with Al Pacino. And apparently they were having an affair, like a real life affair on set, which I believe is why their chemistry is so good in this movie. But they're both fantastic together. She's just extremely attractive in this film. And of course, I know her from Kindergarten Cop. Like, I grew up watching her in that, but to see her in this movie, it's like night and day. She's playing a completely different type of character. But I gotta give a shout out to John Leguizamo, who was very young in this movie, playing Benny Blanc from the Bronx. And every single interaction with him and Al Pacino in this film, because to Al Pacino, he represents his younger self, and that's the self that he's trying to get away from. He's aiming for redemption. This is ultimately a story of redemption. So he's trying to get away from that persona, and he sees himself, his younger self, in John Leguizamo's Benny Blanc, and he hates him. He hates him for no reason. Like, he's trying to be nice to him when they first meet. And just their interactions with each other and just how like disrespectful Al Pacino's being to him the whole movie is hilarious. Like, I was rolling watching this movie, especially the scene where he's eating dinner and he keeps trying to, call for the girl over there, and then he's, sending him bottles of champagne, and that leads to their whole like big blow up, and he throws him down the steps. Such a good scene, and I just loved every part of John Leguizamo in this movie. I just felt like he was fantastic and really added an energy to the film. And probably my favorite scene of the entire film is towards the beginning, where Al Pacino's with his cousin when he first gets out of jail, and they go into that little pool hall and he's delivering money to them. But that whole sequence is so tense and so thrilling. Like, I was literally on the edge of my seat. When you see that guy behind the door, I'm like, oh crap, something horrible is about to happen, and you know it. And just the way that Al Pacino plays it in that scene, and just the shots, and just how claustrophobic they make that room. Brian De Palma makes the room, and that shot where the guy's walking by his sunglasses, it's such a beautiful shot. But yeah, look, this is a story of redemption. It's not like Scarface, because Scarface is the rise and fall of Tony Montana. And this is, Carlito's already went through his rise and fall. This is his redemption story. He's been in prison. He is reformed. He's trying to do better. But everybody just keeps bringing him back in. I think actually Al Pacino says in Godfather 3, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. He wants to do better for himself. He wants to do right. He just wants to get back with, his girl and do right, but everything around him is falling apart. Everything around him, all the elements, all the old people that he knew from his former life is just trying to draw him back in to this old lifestyle. So it's a tragedy at the end of the day, what happens and how the story plays out, but it's so good, it's so effective, and I absolutely love this film. I think that Carlito's Way is definitely one of Brian De Palma's best films, and it's probably one of Al Pacino's best performances. So I feel like I say that every time I watch an Al Pacino movie, though, which is why he's my favorite actor. So yeah, Carlito's Way is fantastic. I love this movie. So getting into the restoration here. So I will say that this is not the first time this movie has been put out on 4K. Universal actually did a 4K, I believe, back in 2021, which I have right here. It's funny because I do have this on 4K, and I never opened it or watched it. I don't know why, but I didn't. Took Arrow Video to put it out for me to actually watch the damn thing. I also got a Blu-ray Steelbook back in the day as well, and still didn't watch this. Beautiful Steelbook. But it is the exact same transfer on this Arrow Video version, and it even says it in the booklet inside that the transfer came from Universal NBC. So it is the exact same transfer. It's a native 4K. You have HDR10. There's no Dolby Vision with this 4K, but I thought it looked great. I thought it looked spectacular. And again, I can't give Arrow Video credit for the transfer. It was, Universal did the transfer, but I thought it looked freaking spectacular. And just going back to that pool room scene in the beginning, just the redness of the walls and all that stuff looked fantastic, kind of reflecting off of Al Pacino on all the characters' skins and just the way everything looked in that room. And this movie has a lot of nightclub sequences, and all that stuff really shines. all the colors of the nightclub really shine with that HDR. So I thought it looked great, just great definition. And again, I haven't watched this movie on Blu-ray. I watched a little bit of the Arrow Video Blu-ray when I watched the special features, and I could definitely tell a difference. Like I said, with all the 4Ks, guys, when they add in HDR, you go back and try to watch the Blu-ray, it just looks so much more flat, so colorless. Even though probably when the first time you're watching the Blu-ray, it looks like it's filled with colors. It looks like the best thing you've ever seen. But when you watch the 4K and you get those deeper colors, those deeper black levels with that HDR, you can just tell such a difference when you go back and you watch that Blu-ray. But such great definition on all the faces, just on all the outfits, and just perfect clarity all throughout. But yeah, I just thought the picture quality here was just fantastic, and it just such a great film, such a colorful film, such a vibrant, full of life film, and that is on perfect display with this 4K with the HDR. And getting into the audio, you actually have the Master Audio 7.1 on this release, but again, it is on this release as well. But the thing that this release has versus the Universal 4K is you get a 5.1 English track on this, and you do not get that option on the Universal 4K. So they actually added an audio option on the Arrow Video release, and you also get the 2.0 mono track as well. So 3 different English audio options here, and I thought everything sounded great. Such a fantastic score. I absolutely loved the music in this movie. I thought it was freaking perfect. Very Hitchcock though. It did remind me a lot of something you would hear in an old school Hitchcock film, but I thought that with a little bit of a modern tinge as well. But I thought all of that just played beautifully throughout this movie, because this really is, it's not just purely a gangster film. This is a lot of different things. This is a noir, a mystery, a thriller, a gangster movie, a romance movie. There's so much going on in this film, and the score just perfectly embodied all of those elements combined. So yeah, I just really think that this might be Brian De Palma's masterpiece. You know, the more I talk about it with you guys right here. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into the special features, because there's actually a lot of really great special features. And you're probably saying to yourself, if there's a Universal 4K for $14, which there is, that is how much this is on Amazon right now, $14, $13.99 for this Universal 4K. If the Universal 4K is $14.99, but the Arrow Video Big Box Set release is $39.99. Why do I need this release? Well, you get tons, guys. Again, the same transfer, but you do get another audio option, but you get tons of brand new special features that you do not get on that release. You get 2 brand new audio commentaries in this release, which is definitely cool. You get Carlito and the Judge, a brand new interview with Judge Edwin Torres, the author of the 2 Carlito's Way novels, Carlito's Way and After Hours, on which the screenplay for Carlito's Way is based. So you actually get to, you know, listen to the guy that wrote the books that the movie was based on. So it's really cool to hear him talk about the books and then how they adapted it, just his thoughts on it. So that was a really good interview. You get Cutting Carlito's Way, a brand new interview with editors Bill Packnow and Christina Bowden. De Palma's Way, a brand new appreciation by film critic David Eldenston. So I actually thought that this one was a great interview. It was probably my favorite of all of them, because he really gives a lot of insight on De Palma as a director, in particular on De Palma as a director at this time, talking about how he had 3 bombs before he made this movie, and this one kind of resurrected his career because he was kind of on the downward spiral, and Carlito's Way kind of brought him back. So that was a really interesting interview. Then you got all the stitches in the world, the locations of Carlito's Way, which is kind of cool because it shows you like images of the movie and then shows you what those places look like now. So yeah, just tons of great stuff, new interviews, new locations. You got 2 brand new commentaries. So there's tons of brand new special features to sink your teeth into, but you have the old archival stuff as well. Interview with Brian De Palma, making of the Carlito's Way, an archival documentary, which I think is like 35 minutes long. So all the bells and whistles, all the stuff is included from the previous releases, and you get a bunch of new stuff as well. And again, guys, when you're paying out the money, the $39.99, you know, if you care about good quality packaging, Arrow Video, that is what they do. That is their specialty when they do these big box set limited edition releases like this. Just fantastic. You got the artwork on there, which is just beautiful. And I'm going to show you this bound. Again, I'm going to cut to a little unboxing right here and show you all this more in depth, but it's just a beautiful box set. We'll go ahead and take everything out. of the case. And, you know, I'll show you this black, you know, 4K case right here. Flip it around, open it up. You got a couple of discs here. You got a 4K disc. You also got a Blu-ray disc. Now, all the special features are on the Blu-ray, and the movie is also on the Blu-ray as well. So you get the movie on Blu-ray and you get the movie on 4K. Now, I do not think that the Blu-ray is a new scan, but I could be mistaken there. And then you get all these, you know, cool art cards right here with Al Pacino, Sean Penn, you know, Penelope Ann Miller, just all the cast and crew. Great stuff. You got Al Pacino on the back of those. You get reversible cover arts here. You get the original poster art, and then you got the Arrow Video commissioned artwork. You get a nice little booklet right here with the glasses that the guy walks by and the gun and the pool table. Such a great scene, though, guys. That is probably, you know, one of the best scenes of the movie. Then kind of flip through it a little bit. Bam, bam, bam. Great little booklet if you're into reading up more on the film. Tons of great stuff in here. Production notes, essays on the movie, and just a lot of great stuff. And then lastly, you get a poster. You get a double-sided poster with the original poster artwork and also the newly commissioned artwork as well. And yeah, I just think it's beautiful. I love the, you know, the contrast between Al Pacino's Carlito walking with a gun and then, you know, his lover, Penelope Ann Miller, dancing. That's what she wanted to be. She wanted to be an entertainer. And, you know, they just wanted to be happy together. And it's a beautiful story, guys. It's a beautiful romance. And I love this movie. I really, truly love this movie. I didn't know if I would, but it's Brian De Palma, and I love everything he does. But that is my review of Carlito's Way on 4K from Arrow Video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you feel more informed about, you know, whether or not you want to grab this 4K Arrow Video release. I do think it's a fantastic release, and I highly recommend it. Now, if you already have the 4K and you're happy with it, then keep it. But if you're into special packaging, you know, box sets and a lot of new special features to dig into, and if you're into all that kind of stuff, I do recommend picking up this Arrow Video release. So thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications for all future videos, and we'll see you next time.